Welcome to an American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's good to be back. Fun times. And so I am very much been looking forward to getting back with you guys and doing a podcast and some streaming. I tried to do tonight Facebook and YouTube stream together. I've done that before when we went through D-Live, but I couldn't because Facebook has banned me from doing anything extra on my American Homestead channel. So yeah, I'm kind of limited on what I can do right now. But it's great to be back. I'm having a great time tonight and got a lot of stuff to share. We'll talk about the world today. Just everything that's going on. I hope everyone out there is social distancing, staying safe. Yeah, right. Anyway, so wait a minute. I got to stop my music. There we go. So this is all just nuts. Everyone is just let me pull up the chat here. Ryan and Victoria, Michael Cross, Prince ZM, Life Off Grid, Brenda Irving, Debbie Hughes, Annabelle, Jessica S, Bandana Grandma. That's a good one. Latasha, Connie. Hey, listen, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. Hit that thumbs up button. Smash the like button for me. And that lets YouTube know that I'm not such a bad guy. They like to give me trouble. But yeah, I got banned from... So I posted that meme from... It was about Governor Whitmer, I believe is her name, from Michigan, about a week ago. And they told me I was going to be locked out of my account for 30 days. And I appealed it, and it said, okay, we're putting your account on hold until your appeal can be heard. And they never got back with me. But I noticed for a few days I couldn't really do anything. And then for now, I tried to stream just now, and it's not letting me. It says, I have failed to uphold community standards and policies. That's what it said. So for Facebook. So I can't stream from Facebook right now. Until I'm out of Facebook jail. So I'm somewhere in the dungeon of Facebook. I don't know exactly where yet. I can still post on my Facebook American Homestead page, and I can still post on my account, on my profile page, but I cannot do some of the bells and whistles that Facebook allows you to do, unfortunately. But I don't know. It just is what it is. That's the world we live in today, folks. We are totally succumbed to the way we communicate today is all overseen by the powers that be. And we are at their whim. You know, my personal opinion is that blockchain can solve all this, and people will eventually move to that in that direction. And they are. There's lots of different options now. But it's just that some of them are failing to catch on because so many people are used to what they're used to. And I just think that's the big problem right now. So, yeah, I'm being censored on Facebook. Thanks, Ryan and Victoria, for sharing us on Facebook. Really appreciate it. Jim, hi from Canada. And yeah, Facebook is censoring right now really bad. They're censoring all kinds of stuff. It's okay though. It's okay. You know, and let's just say they take everything away tomorrow. We'll still find a way to communicate and share and you know, if we have to go to ham radio, we can go to ham radio. So I mean, that just is what it is. And you get a short band radio and you can tune in. So what is going on? A lot of stuff happening. I got a message right before the show from Lisa. I think it always makes me think of Pauly Shore. I don't know, for some reason whenever I hear the name Lisa. What was she saying? Lisa Hodges asking about goats, and you know, do we have goats? And no, we don't have goats. And the reason for that is because I've had goats on two different occasions. I've owned goats and worked with goats on two different occasions. I wouldn't say I really owned them. They were part of like a community project at one point, and then another point they were just a herd of goats that I helped maintain for some other people. And it was just horrific. It was just, I mean, and I've heard there's differences. I think Lisa says she owns pygmy goats. And that's a completely different animal from what I've been told. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you think that's true or not. But I mean, you own goats, and well, the way I see a goat is they wake up every day and say, how can I kill myself today? What trouble can I get into? How can I destroy something? You know, whose life can I make miserable today? They're like a bunch of drunk teenagers all the time. And so they They just destroy things. They try to get out of whatever enclosure you've got them in. They are always standing on top of cars. And it's just a mess. I remember I always tell the story of the one time I built a feeder, a hay feeder for the goats that we were maintaining. And we built this hay feeder. It was real nice, 2x4 construction, metal netting, just perfect enclosure for putting hay in, because we had a problem with worms. Our goats were getting worms. It was the barber pole worm. It's a parasite that lives in the ground in a lot of places. And our goats were suffering from them. And so a neighbor or whoever it was came by and said, hey, listen, you need to get your feed off of the ground because they're ingesting the worms by eating off the ground. And so when it comes to a ruminant animal, you always want to keep their feed off the ground. Even deer, they don't dig in the dirt, but sheep and goats will. They'll eat whatever's off the ground. A deer will just pick off, vegetation off plants and stuff like that. But and they suffer from things too, but they have more of a bent up, a built up immunity to some of these things, more than sheep and goats do, some of these breeds. And the breed of sheep we have now is great. They don't suffer from barber pole worms at all. But some of these livestock breeds really can be susceptible to these worms. And so I built this feeder, it was perfect. And within a day, they had destroyed it. They were standing in it. They were ramming it with their heads. They were tearing it apart. And this thing was just shattered on the ground. Solid 2x4 construction. And it was just shattered on the ground. They were standing in it, pooping, peeing in it. And it was just, what is going on? And then when we moved to the homestead, we had sheep, and we built a feeder for the sheep, because you got to keep their hay off the ground, And you know what they did with this feeder? They ate out of it. Amazing. They ate out of it. Not like the goats. The goats destroyed it, standing in it, pooping in it, peeing in it, pooping on their food. No. The sheep actually ate out of the feeder. That's when I knew I made the right decision. That's when, you read about in your Bible the sheep and the goats. There's a reason why he separates the two. So, it just, light bulb goes off. So, I don't own goats. There's a lot of good benefits with goats. Our neighbors have goats, and you go down to their place in the summer, and the vegetation's gone crazy because of summer vegetation here, and you can see perfectly through the woods because they have devoured everything through the woods. It looks really nice. Very pristine down there because the goats have just killed all the vegetation that they can reach. And it looks like a well-manicured woods. And so the good thing is about goats is that they'll eat anything. So if you're short of food, short of pasture, you can have goats. You have a lot of woods, you can keep goats. As long as you have a way to keep them in that large enclosed area, you have good fencing on the outskirts. But you can let them roam in those woods, and they'll have plenty of food. They'll just eat and eat and eat and eat. And they'll keep the ground vegetation to them, just nothing. They'll just destroy the ground vegetation, which is what you want sometimes. To be a healthy forest, you don't want a lot of ground vegetation. So I just don't like goats. I don't like goats. I'm sorry, Lisa, I just don't like goats. But they do make good cheese. They do make good soaps. And so I do enjoy goat cheese and goat soaps. I have some goat soaps now. In fact, I think we just bought some. If Cassie and Dustin are on here, they'll be able to tell me if the soap we just bought from a local here in the area, I think that was made from goat milk. And it's great soap. They make great soap, they make great milk, great cheese, but and it's great for newborns. So if you have issues with newborns and breastfeeding, some newborns are like that. My oldest was like that, So my oldest was raised on goat milk. So they're great for that. Perfect. I just don't like having to deal with them. I'll let somebody else grow them, and I'll grow sheep. So anyway, hi from New Hampshire. Awesome. Glad you're tuning in. And they eat all the blackberry bushes. Yeah, they do eat all the blackberry bushes, Yeshua's disciple. They do that. So you got to keep your blackberries somewhere else. You got to keep your garden away from goats because they will just devour, they will destroy a garden if they get in. Yeah, glad to see I'm doing live streams again. Like I said, I'd like to do one through Facebook and through other social media websites, but I'm banned from Facebook right now. I'm in Facebook dungeon. I can't live stream. I tried to it tonight and they wouldn't let me. It says you have not fulfilled the proper, or you have not adhered to the proper community standards and policies. You're in the dungeon. You'll stay there until we're sick of hearing you scream. Yes, Zach, my oldest too. She is 14, benefited from goat's milk. Yep. Yeah, goats, they do great on goat's milk, young kids. Anyway, so I was on Facebook today, and a friend of mine, Courtney, her and her husband visited, I think back, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Probably something like that. Anyway, she had posted, it always comes up, I think, when people talk about the end of the world type stuff and disasters and, what are people going to do when the world ends, when the balloon goes up, when the manure hits the oscillating, whatever it is, rotary oscillator. The people talk about, well, if I can't buy meat, because right now the big news is all the meat shutting down. I should have got a glass of wine before I started this. That's what I should have done. I had a bottle in there, and I was like, oh, should I open it up? I shouldn't have. I should have brought it in. I'm not going to go get it now. It's in the kitchen. It's in the other room. So, how you guys like the new background, by the way? It's pretty good. So it's a green screen. So when you move my hands, you can probably kind of see how it's weird. But it's not bad. It's turning out pretty good. I can switch the backgrounds. Let's see. Can I get in the backgrounds? Oh, there we go. See, there's a switch in the background. What do you think? You like that one? Or like that one? That one? Or that one? So I got the green screen up. I got the lights on. I can give you, hey, listen, I'll give you guys a little preview. I gave the patrons a preview the other day. Oh, did I? I think I gave the patrons a preview. I'm pretty sure I did. So anyway, if I pick this up, you can just kind of like see it's weird. Like see like the light. And so anything that's green shows up where the background is that I have. And then there's the rest of the office. Let me see if I can turn this around. I can't do that yet. Anyway, you can't really see the rest of the office. There's my other camera. They haven't gotten to work yet. And you get that Canon working. I'm still working with Jake Grant to help me get that done. But there's the other light over there. Yeah, see the blackout curtains. Anyway, so that's the new digs that I'm in. The new digs. I get, is that right? There we go. Is that right now? Yeah, there we go. Good enough. I don't know what you guys like, the white background or the black background. Not sure what you think. The dark brown is better, says Connie. Tim Jones says that one. That one. Someone else said that one. First one. Okay, I'm going to stay with this one then. Gray looks great with your eyes. About to puke, bro. Okay, so anyway, so Courtney posted, and like I said, this always comes up when everyone talks about the balloon going up, the end of the world as we know it, happening, that if I can't get meat, I'm just going to kill all the deer. I'll just start shooting and kill all the deer. I'll just eat all the deer. I'll just go hunting. I'll just go deer hunting. That's all I'll do, because that's how I'll get meat. Because right now, all these meat plants are shutting down. I put that video up the other day of that Texas rancher, and it looks pretty bad. I mean, they're just shutting all this stuff down. And supposedly, Trump issued an executive order to keep the meat plants open. The issue is, I mean, there's a lot of issues with all this, but the employers are worried about the safety standards and social distancing. Some of these meat plants, the people work in close proximity with each other. How are you going to do that and still maintain these protocols? You can't do that. And then if someone does get sick, they can sue their employer. That's why the president is trying to pass tort reform so that they can, shield the employer. I mean, because here's the deal. If you're going to sue your employer because you got sick, I mean, there's no end to the lawsuits at that point. I mean, are you going to sue your employer when you get the common cold, the flu? What happens if you get poison ivy? You can sue anybody for anything these days. So it's ridiculous. So you can't. They need tort reform because it just gets out of hand. Listen, if you get sick, you can't sue somebody unless they sneezed on you on purpose or coughed on you on purpose, and then you get sick. Then that's assault. But I mean, I just don't think that it's just not going to work. Anyway, yeah, I'll just go out and kill all the deer. The problem is, you do the research in the history books about the Great Depression. White-tailed deer basically almost went extinct in this country back in the 1930s because everyone was hunting anything that moved in the woods. Squirrels almost went extinct in some parts of the country tree rats. So it's like people were reduced to eating tree rats because there was no food. And, that's the way it is. You're not going to be able to, you'll be able to hit a deer. You'll be able to get a deer, for a while, but then they're all going to be gone because everyone is just going to go out there and hunt them. And the issue is also because growing up in the city in St. Louis, we went hunting. There were people who went out hunting. We lived on the outskirts of the city, and there were people who hunted out there. People would live in the city and they'd travel 5 hours away just to go hunt a deer. Makes no sense whatsoever. And then they would get that deer, shoot the deer, field dress it maybe, and then bring it to a check-in station where someone would butcher your deer for you, and you'd pay $125 or $80 or $90, whatever it was. It varied based on who you brought it to, and then they would package your meat for you. Because most people don't know how to butcher a deer. If you don't know how to butcher an animal, what are you gonna do with that? So the post that she made was that every Tom, Dick, and Harry will be out there, hunting deer, and there won't be any deer. That's right, but every Tom, Dick, and Harry doesn't know how to butcher an animal. It's just they don't know what they're doing. And so that's what they do. These people, they go out and if their rifle is even zeroed. I mean, do you even know how to zero a rifle? When I was a teenager, I worked at Sports Authority. Sports Authority has now gone out of business. Went out of business, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, whatever it was. Anyway, when I was a teenager, I was in high school and I worked at Sports Authority and I worked at the gun counter. Okay, I started off in the footwear department. And I quickly moved over to the gun counter because that's where I wanted to work. And so they moved me over there full time. And every hunting season, people would come into the gun counter and they wanted to buy a hunting rifle. And the ones that sold out first were the package deals. Usually it was Savage, was the firearms manufacturer. And they would have a rifle that was already packaged with a scope on top. And they were like, oh, I want that one because it's ready to go. No, it's not ready to go. You have to zero the rifle. Well, can you do that for me? I'm like, well, we can bore sight it for you, but yeah, we really can't zero it in for you. You have to do that yourself. Really? Yeah, you're going to have to go to a range. We'll sell you some ammo. And then you go to a range and you have to, the bore sight will get you on paper at maybe 75, 100 yards maybe. And then you have to zero it in. You have to dial it in. You have to get it on target. Oh, man, okay. Most of the people didn't do that. Most of these guys who bought that rifle, would basically go out and just take it as is, bore sighted. Oh, it's good enough. If I can get it on paper at 100 yards, I'm sure it'll be good for a deer. And then then he'd come back and it's defective. No, it's not defective. Did you bore sight it? It was bore sight. Did you zero it in? No, I didn't zero it in. What does that mean? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry doesn't know how to zero a rifle. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry doesn't know how to butcher a deer. So while they're going to go out there and just start flinging bullets. That's all they're going to do. And if they do get a deer, they're not going to know how to butcher it, so they're just going to carve off what they get. Most of it's going to go to waste, and the deer population is going to go in the toilet because people are just shooting and wasting deer because they don't know what to do with it. And it's just sad. This is what it is. Anyway, in that post, someone commented below, and now is where I'm going to make all the vegans mad. Meat's overrated. That's all she said. It was a woman, and she was obviously a vegetarian, bad hunter, and she said meat is overrated, and that's all the comments she left. As if to say, you shouldn't even worry about meat. This is only a problem for you because you eat meat. If you didn't eat meat, this wouldn't be a problem. Newsflash there, genius. If you don't eat meat, but listen. We just got done with winter, okay? We're going into spring, okay? Back in January, you go into the grocery store, everything in there, in the produce section, was grown somewhere else. If the supply lines are down, if everything is down, you go into the store in January, if it's open, you're not going to find that tomato that was grown in Brazil. You're not going to pick up that package of lettuce that was grown in Mexico. It's just not going to be there. Folks, modern veganism, modern vegetarianism is only possible today because of the technological advances that modern America enjoys. That's it. Unless you live in the tropics or subtropics. I have a friend, Paul Neeson, great guy. He lives in Miami. He can grow food year round in Miami. But see, you don't live in Miami probably, if you're listening to me. You don't live in Miami. You live, out there somewhere where it gets cold, where you have to wear a coat in the wintertime. It was cold today. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Wear my hoodie. And so you can't get tomatoes in January. Veganism and modern vegetarianism is only possible today because of the modern technological advances that America enjoys. That's it. And so if the grid goes down, you vegans are going to be in just as much a world of hurt as everyone else is. Because you're not going to be able, your Mexican lettuce and your Brazilian tomatoes are not going to make it to the store in January. They're just not. And so you're going to have to eat, like everyone else, whatever you can find. It's just the reality of, I just don't know how, I can't believe America, and I can believe America. I mean, I've been talking about this for a long time. We're just disconnected from the realities of what is what. We're just disconnected. I mean, tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. Tell me. Oh, so what was it? We'll get to that in a second. Well, I gotta look at my notes. I gotta make sure I'm covering all the bases here. Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So this spirals into something else today too. But all right. So tell me if I'm wrong. You let me know if I'm wrong here. And tofu tree, unless you grow and can your own veggies. It's good. Yeah, it's good. That was the thing. Me and Jamie always talked about was eating seasonally. Historically, that's what people did. A pioneer 200 years ago out in the American wilderness, what they did was they ate seasonally. During the spring, summer, and fall, you harvested everything you possibly could. You dried everything you possibly could. You preserved everything you possibly could in a variety of different ways. You used alcohol for some of those ways. You used all kinds of different preservation methods when it came to whey and fermentation of like cabbage and things like that, making sauerkraut, all these different ways of preservation, salt preservation, all these things, anything you could preserve with sugar, whatever. You preserved your food. And then you ate that food throughout the winter. And the winter was called the starving time because a lot of people starved to death when they were starving. They were starving in the wintertime because they didn't put up enough food. Remember the whole story of the ant and the grasshopper, right? Aesop's fables. So if that's the case, they ate seasonally. They ate when the food was there. And then in the fall and wintertime, that's when they ate meat. They didn't normally eat a lot of meat in the summertime and in the spring, because that was when you stopped eating that and you put that aside, and then you ate all of the stuff you grew, your veggies, your root vegetables, all that squash, things like that. You ate all of that in the spring, summer, and fall until it was gone. Jamie had a strict rule in the house that we did not get into our cans of salsa until all of the tomatoes were dead in the garden. When we can't make pico de gallo anymore, then you can have the salsa. But don't open those salsa jars until the tomatoes are gone. So it's a seasonal diet, and people don't know that anymore. Nowadays, you can eat anything, anytime you want, whenever you want. It's just a matter. You just go to the store, you get it, eat it, or order it delivered, or whatever. Order it through. Now it's a lot of order it through the mail. So that was the whole idea. I mean, that was in my other channel. I talk about carnival. Carnival. We know it today as Mardi Gras. Okay. But the rest of the world doesn't celebrate Mardi Gras. They celebrate Carnival. In America, we call it Mardi Gras. Okay? Carnival means farewell to meat. Carna, meat, vol, farewell, goodbye. Farewell to meat. Because in the springtime, when Carnival, Mardi Gras begins, and they have a whole list of dates of when all that happens, it basically ends in the spring, Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, it's a farewell to meat. Because the meat eating time of the winter, fresh meat is over. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to your meat. Because that's when it was eaten in the wintertime. And, we're just totally disconnected from that. Eating local is how we are supposed to do it. Right, Kevin? Exactly. D and Rowe, fresh first, frozen, then canned. Right, exactly. Absolutely. That's how it's supposed to be. I found a pawpaw tree the other day. I'm excited that I might get some fruits this fall. Yeah, I did a video on that. I actually got a lot of views. I'm hoping to get a lot more views on that video this year. I first time eating pawpaw, and it was awesome. Or this last summer, it was amazing. pawpaw. It's like I'm definitely gonna. And now I found a pawpaw patch down at the creek where we swim at. So I'll be down at the pawpaw patch this summer for sure, no doubt about it. Question, Zach, will you eat clean when all this goes? Yes, absolutely. There's so much food out there that's clean. So most of you who don't know, we don't have to get into all this. This is more topics for the other channel. It talks about Bible stuff, right? So we eat clean. We don't eat pork. We don't eat shellfish. We eat things biblically clean, like it spells out for you in detail in Leviticus chapter 11. And so that's the common question. Will you eat? If you're starving, Zach, there's a squirrel over there. Are you going to eat it? No, I'm not going to eat tree rat. I'm not going to eat it. I won't eat your pigs, whatever. I mean, there's lots of wild hogs that live around here. I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to eat it. There's plenty of other things I can eat. And if all of the livestock, I mean, I have livestock. I have meat on the hoof here. We have canned meat. We have frozen meat. We have solar-powered freezer here. So if the grid goes down, my grid's still going to be up and running. I'll do what I can do. If I have to, starve and eat potatoes through the winter, whatever, I'll figure it out. But I'm not going to eat unclean animals. It's just not going to be that. It's like, would you kill somebody if you could get $1 million for it? No, the Bible says not to. So I'm not going to kill somebody. And I know you guys out there are like, but Acts 10. Zach, will you eat unclean if need be? No, Alicia, I will not. Eat dandelion, bro. Yeah. I've never eaten dandelion root, but I did just order. When's it going to be here? Let's look. I did just order some dandelion root coffee that our friends Marcos and, where's it at? Marcos and Tamber turned me on to. Let's see when it's going to get here. Not now. Come on, go. Orders. Arriving Tuesday. Let me see if I can pull it up here for you and show you. I don't know if it'll... if I can make it... Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, check this out. Will it show up or not? I don't know if you can you see that? Let me go to my... Dandelion Dark Roast Organic. Dandelion Dark Roast Organic. Oh my goodness. I had a cup of that when I was over at their house a few weeks ago. And it was absolutely amazing. Look how it sees through my phone. Can it see me through the phone? No, it can't. I'm like not there. But it sees the background because it's green up there, obviously, so it thinks it's green. But Dandelion Dark Roast, it tastes like coffee. Now, there's no caffeine in it. It says deep roasted body from chicory, dandelion, and ramen. Is that right? Ramon. It can't be ramen. I think, yeah. It's got to be something else. I don't know what that is. But it's caffeine free, but it tastes like coffee. And guys, it tastes good. So I ordered like 3 packs of that. And I think each pack has like 50 tea bags in it. So I'm like, I'm ready for the apocalypse. Because you can't get coffee. I mean, it's another thing people don't think about. There's certain things you're not going to be able to get if the grid goes down. Let's just say supply lines are completely collapsed. It's completely gone. Let me go back to the chat here. Coffee, all grown overseas. Black pepper, like on your eggs, salt and pepper in the morning. Black pepper does not grow. It all grows overseas. There's certain things that you will not be able to get anymore. So it's like, man, stock up while you can get it. I drink dandelion root tea every day, says Appalachian American Preparedness. Awesome. Yeah, it tastes good. I was really surprised. And, they offered, hey, would you like some dandelion root? I'm like, okay. I was like, man, this is good. So I'm like, came home and ordered that stuff. Organic coffee. I did find it. Yes, I found organic coffee. I did. And I ordered like 2 or 3 bags of that. So that's I got some of that already in the mail, but I think I was on a subscription for that, so it just keeps sending it to me. Even though, Tim, my father-in-law, excuse me, I told him, I said, I'm out of coffee. Can you give me some coffee? And this is when no one was like going to Walmart. They were shutting everything down right at the beginning of the whole epidemic and everything. And so he brought me back this. He said there was coffee there, and he brought me back this giant, great value Walmart brand can of coffee. And I was like, oh, that's not my brand. Because I like, what is it? Javalia, or Javalia, whatever it is. That's my brand, Javalia. And so, yes, I got organic coffee. Tashina, I got organic coffee. I have lots of organic coffee now. So, but I got to go through that first because I can't waste something. I can't waste it. So I'm like, ugh. But he doesn't drink coffee. So he doesn't care. Coffee to him is disgusting. So he's always willing to tell somebody. Britt says, I lie. What am I lying about? No, oh no, caffeine. Never mind. She says I lie about something. I can't, Brittany, tell me what I lied about. Anyway, so yeah, I've got coffee. We got lots of coffee now. And I've got the dandelion coffee, so I'm good. Dandelion coffee. Just search for dandelion coffee on Amazon. I'll show it to you again. The brand name is Ticino or whatever. Ticino. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Ticino. I don't know if you can see that because of the Ticino. It's up there at the top. Dandelion dark roast organic. And, oh no, I'm sorry. There's 25 tea bags in each package, and I bought 3 of those. Yeah. 25. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exciting stuff. So what was I talking about? I don't remember. Did Britt respond what I was lying about? Let me go back here. I don't see what you said. You lie. Sometimes I eat the flowers a little better and eat sweet clover to take the bitter away. Sweet clover, I haven't discovered that yet. All the clover I've tasted is not. Jovial? I don't know what that. Javalier. Do I really need to bring up Javalier? It starts with a G, not a J. That's my brand. It's not organic though, but it tastes good. Javalier coffee. Let me find it. Oh, there it is. So, can you see that? Hold on. I don't see. Oh, you can't even. It takes out the yellow too. You can't even look at that. So you see. Oh, it's not gonna. I can't. It's because of the green screen. I don't know if you can see that. No, it's not gonna. Anyway, it's Gavalia. It's cafe. It's spelled with coffee with a K. I think it's Swedish or something like that. Swiss. I don't know. That's my brand, but I know it's not organic, so I'm trying to. All the organic coffee that I ordered is not Javalier. I don't know if they make a organic Javalier. Anyway, what was I talking about? I don't remember. Chaga is a great coffee sub as well. It was bitter. We have a lot of chaga here, and we had it for Jamie, and it was not that great. It was bitter. So, in fact, when I made the tea for Jamie, she did not like it. She didn't like it. Jenna Woodson says river winds. Are river winds here? Doesn't recommend this coffee too? Oh yeah, I think they drink the dandelion. Anyway, so all this to say, yeah, you're not going to be able to get your food anymore in January. Your vegetarians are just. I'm sorry, your vegetarians. Vegetarianism, veganism is a product of modern day. It's a technological advancement of modern day America. You can't go into a store in January and get your stuff if the supply lines are down. And I know people who are like, well, I'll just build a greenhouse, Zach, and I can have my greens, year round. No, you're not, because even if you can get a greenhouse to grow and you get your stuff to grow, all your veggies to grow in the greenhouse, which a lot of your cold hardy stuff will grow, but some of it won't, and that limits you a lot. But then also your greenhouse is only going to last for a few years, and so let's just say we're really in a grid down situation for long term. Greenhouse plastic only lasts for about 3 or 4 years, and the really expensive stuff, the 10-year stuff, is astronomical in price. So most people can't afford that. And if you say, "Oh, I'll just build a greenhouse in glass," good luck, because that's even more astronomical in price. No, the reality is you're a vegan, you're a vegetarian now. If you shut everything off, You will eat whatever you can eat. That's the reality of the world we live in. So anyway, that was what was said in that. It was a comment on there. It says meat is overrated, as if to say, this is only a problem for you meat eaters, because us vegetarians, we don't have this problem. And when the world collapses, we won't have a problem, because we'll just go to Walmart and get our tomatoes that are grown in Brazil. Yeah, okay. I've beat that horse enough. All right, so then who posted this? It was someone, it was Vanessa. So one of my friends on Facebook posted, I wish I could show this meme. Can I find the meme? I saved it on my other computer. I didn't save it here. Oh. All right, so I'm not going to show it to you. I'll just describe it. So here's how this worked. She posted a meme, and this was a pet peeve of mine. So it's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. And it was, you've ever seen that meme where it's this guy, I think he's kind of relaxing, he's texting on his phone, and he says something, and then the picture below him is a girl texting on her phone. And usually, like, the person below says blocked. The girl says blocked, right? Well, it was the guy. The guy says, your chickens are not your children. Okay, and so blocked, right? There are people out there really who believe their chickens are their children. And I mean, we did a video a few years back, Patricia, and she is just amazing. She's an elderly woman who lives in the area here, and I love her to death, but she is as liberal can get. And she is just an old hippie, and she's a proud old hippie, and she loves her chickens, and she lets her chickens live until they fall over dead or something eats them, which usually is the case, because she won't do the things necessary to protect her chickens. And she keeps her chickens way longer than you should even keep your chickens. And so I said, yes, absolutely. I mean, this is the case. When people consider chickens their children or their family members, I posted the meme of Lee R. Ermey saying, "What is your major malfunction?" And someone said, the comment to that was a reply to that saying, well, I don't grow meat birds, so I don't have that problem. My egg layers live a long, happy life as long as they want and lay eggs as long as they want, and I give them all names because they're my children or something like that. And I responded back with, no. Egg layers will only produce for about 2 years. 2 years. You have 2 good years for egg layers. Trust me, we know we have egg layers. We have eggs here. Lots of eggs, lots of the best egg layers. The best breeds, I think, are for egg layers. Certain good breeds, we have those. And they do about 2 years. Fantastic production. But then you have to cull them. Because if you don't, you're just feeding non-productive chickens. They don't lay eggs forever. They start to slow down. And it gets worse, and it gets worse. And so what do you do with those chickens? They just take up space, and you keep spending money on feed or whatever it is you're doing to feed them. You're putting forth effort to feed a non-productive animal on your homestead. So no, this absolutely applies to chickens. What you do with egg layers is that you cull the chicken, and then you pressure can that chicken because they're really tough. After about 16 weeks, chickens start getting really tough. 16 weeks old. Usually you eat a chicken at about 8 to 12 weeks if it's a meat bird. So a chicken that's like 2 years old is like tire rubber. So you have to pressure can it. And then you take that pressure can chicken, and then you can make stock with it, and you save the stock, you can the stock, and then you have that meat, which after it's been pressured, it's good, it's soft to eat. You can eat it. It's quite tasty. But you culled out those chickens, otherwise you're just putting forth money down the drain to a chicken that's never going to produce again. But you feel good about yourself. I didn't kill my chickens because, they're my family. This is why, so we're getting into it. This is why you heard the administration recently talk about how all these cities, because of this COVID thing, they want all this money from the federal government. And YouTube's word searches are just going nuts right now. Wait a minute, You have chickens, you have firearms you've talked about, and now you're talking about COVID-19, and you've talked about goats. It doesn't know what to do with this video because the algorithm is trying to figure out what to do with this video. So anyway, in the last few weeks last few days, you've heard the administration talk about all these cities that want money to fix their budget problems because they've run their cities into the ground monetarily, right? And it's because you have all of these monetary policies. Let's just give you an example. So you have a government worker who works for 20 years, earns a pension, and because of advances in modern medicine, that pensioner who's now collecting a guaranteed check from the government every year or every month, every whatever it is, every pay period, is now living till he's, in his 80s or 90s. He retired back when he was 60. Okay, or even early, he spent 20 years, he got a pension. And now you've got this money that has to go out to that pensioner who worked 20 years or whatever, even 30 years, but now he's living till he's like in his 80s and 90s. And the cities are going down the tubes because they don't have the money and they're so far in debt. And so now they want federal money to help during this whole disaster because they can hopefully correct some of their record books. And Trump's like, no, you can't do that. No, we'll pay for things that are COVID related, but not things because just to fix your horrible financial irresponsibilities. No, we can't do that. It's the same with the chickens. You're keeping a chicken around that's not producing anything, and you're paying money for feed or whatever it is to keep that chicken alive because it's your family member and you love it, when it's not producing anything. Well, now you have all these pensioners living in these cities who worked their 20 years, they're retired, and now they're just living off the government dole, and they're not producing anything. And they wonder why their cities are so far in debt. It's the same thing. But see, that's the world we live in today, is that the chicken is a family member. Even though you're not producing anything, we're going to take care of you the rest of your life. And we're in debt up to our eyeballs because of it. Now, if you're on a farm, it produces or it's gone. There's no, we name our animals. I think the kids have names for every single one of those sheep out there. Most of them. And so, but when it comes time to eat it, it's like, you eat it. It's not a big deal. Or Beardy was one of the ones we ate Beardy. We had a ram named Beardy, and Caleb was like, man, Beardy tastes really good. Oh, this is Beardy. No, this is not Beardy. This is such and such. We eat our animals. If you don't produce, you get eaten. It's as simple as that. And it's a pet peeve of mine because people, they want a homestead, they want to do all these things, but then they can't make the hard choices of actually eating what it is you've spent time and money on raising and producing. The time comes to eat it and you just can't do it. You just can't do it. Yeah. Okay, just I'm getting back. I need to get caught up with my... All right, I'm going back to the chat. Rebecca, I believe that Zach and Paul have talked diet. I remember an old video. Yeah, we've talked diet before. There's some things we absolutely agree on, me and Paul, and some things we don't. He thinks it's unhealthy to eat meat. He thinks it's unhealthy to drink wine. Again, my questions to him about wine. How do they drink wine in the spring, supposedly, if grapes are harvested in the fall? How do you deal with that? Alcohol. Alcohol is the preservative, Paul. And what was the other one? Oh, one thing we do agree on for sure, coffee. I love coffee. I do. But see, people who drink coffee all day, they lose the medicinal effects of that coffee. I have 1 cup a day, and that 1 cup a day boosts me up. I'm ready to go, and I don't drink anymore. But people who drink all the time, who drink coffee all the time, they lose that medicinal effect. And it causes all kinds of health problems, headaches, and just body aches. And it's just a mess. It just messes you up because it's a medicinal and you're misusing the medicinal of coffee. And so I totally agree with him on that. He's really big. He's like no coffee, only drink it if it's necessary. It's like a medicinal, like something you'd only pull off the shelf if you were dying or something. But I don't know if he thinks that or not. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I know he's very strict about coffee, and I totally agree with him. It's a medicinal. If you use it beyond what it's effective for, it loses its effectiveness. So we don't agree on meat. We don't agree on wine, but we agree on a lot of stuff. I love Paul Neeson. He's awesome, and I agree with him on so much. And I just, he lives in a place in Miami where you can grow food year round, and if you have the ground space. I don't know if he does or not, but I know he has lots of fruit trees, and I think he has an avocado tree, or a couple avocado trees. I'm not sure, but he's got lots of different, fruit trees and things like that. And so in, places like that, he's in the city though. So, if he was in the country, in Florida, South Florida, then, it might be a little bit safer, but, I think he does have a shotgun. So I think I saw him with a shotgun once. Almost everything can be canned, bottled, picked, fermented. That's true. No vaccines for me. They will have to find me first. Yeah, I know. That kind of worries me about the whole vaccine stuff. I don't know. I have no idea where this is heading, the whole vaccine thing. They say we have to be locked up until they get a vaccine, but they can't even force everyone to take a flu vaccine. So how are they going to force everyone to take this vaccine? They're talking about these cards. I don't know, man. I'm really getting skeptical about Fauci. I think that guy just needs to be told to get out of here. He drives me nuts every time I see that guy on TV. Love the channel. Can you get a Roku app? We used to be on Roku, but the people who put our stuff on Roku stopped doing it. I think it was because of the alcohol. They knew we drank wine, and so that really set them off, I think. I'm not sure. Coffee is always necessary, day and night. Yeah, it's come to a point where it can be addicting, and you don't want it to do that. I have 1 cup a day. Not only that, if I have more than 1 cup a day, I just pee all day long. If I have 2 cups, I'm not kidding. If I have 2 cups of coffee, I will just pee all day long. I'm in the bathroom all the time. It really makes me upset because I'm trying to do other things, and I got to go pee again. It just drives me nuts. That's why I like the Zeal. I love the Zeal. I think there's a link in the description below. Order some Zeal, and it's it's very nutritional, tons of nutrients in it. I love it. I love the Zeal. I try to drink it twice a day. I think he's got a gun. BRB, be right back. I think he's got a gun. I think Paul's got a shotgun. I'm pretty sure. Britt says coffee makes me happy. It makes me happy too in the morning. I love coffee. Coffee in the morning, a glass of wine at night, or 2. I drink a couple glasses of wine at night if I do that. But see, I can't drink it every night. It just gets me messed up. I can't do that. I don't think I've drank any wine in a week since Shabbat. See, that's another thing too. So there was another person on Facebook that started, what was her name? Melissa. And she joined one of these. There's a lot of different, because people are learning and figuring this out. Most of the wine that's produced in America is produced with high sulfates and a lot of chemicals. Some of the chemicals are even unclean. They come from like pork products or different animals, things like that. And so, or shellfish. And a lot of them are chemical. I think there's like over 70, maybe it's like 70 different chemicals that wines that are not in wine that are added to it for flavoring. And so the reason is because the producers who make the wine, the manufacturers, want a consistent wine every single year. Okay, they don't want they want to make sure that each wine, each bottle, each vintage is exactly like the vintage before, because people like consistency. They like their brands. So like beer drinkers will I like Bud Light, or I like Strobes, or whatever. I don't drink beer really. So whatever, they like their brand. Well, it's the same with wine. People like their brand. They don't want to. Wine used to be where you pick up a bottle of wine, like that was a good vintage. That 2014, that was a good vintage. Or 2012, that was a good vintage. 2013, not so much. That was a bad year that year. They had a forest fire, or it was too dry that year, or too wet, whatever. A fungus hit the vineyard, whatever, and it wasn't a very good vineyard. That wasn't a very good vintage. And so the manufacturers want every year to be exactly the same. So they add a bunch of chemicals based on the chemicals that are already in the fruit of the grape. And so they test it. They send their grapes to laboratories, and the laboratories send all this paperwork back to them, telling them what chemicals to add to their wine to make it consistent from the year before. So it's consistent. So some years you may need to add a little bit more of this chemical, and some years you need to add a little bit more of that chemical. And so every year is different, but they add all these chemicals in to make it consistent every single year. It's going to taste exactly the same every year. I think there's like 70 different chemicals or something like that. So I read a book a couple years ago called Cork Dork, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And in this book, it kind of goes through that detail. And it's completely ruined wine, because wine is supposed to have characteristics. It's supposed to be different every time you open up that bottle and pour a glass. It's supposed to have a story to tell. Well, it doesn't have a story to tell anymore. On the bottles, they like to tell a nice little story about the vineyard and how it's been in this family's, for 100 years and 5 generations and a bunch of garbage now. It's all crap. It's all owned by a bunch of corporations. But there's a strong movement now to get wine back into its original form, where it was produced the way a grape is fermented, aged, and then bottled. And then, every year is different. This year was good. This year was not so good, but it's got character. And, it's just different. It's like, it's for a foodie, it's a foodie's dream, because it's like you want to taste something different every time you taste something, right? So it's about the experience, Well, wine's not that way anymore. And so she had signed up for to be a sales rep or whatever it was. It's MLM, and it's selling wine, different wines from these different companies that wanted to produce wine the way it was originally produced. Anyway, I thought about signing up for it, but it was, number one, it was expensive, because these wines are expensive. They're produced naturally, which means they don't have they're not producing billions of cases every year. So it's really expensive to buy them. Also, there's some laws that from Arkansas, you have to meet certain requirements for Arkansas to deliver. So the wine clubs that I'm a member of, they deliver to Arkansas. And the wines I order, so I have a friend of mine who says, how does he say it? He says, there's German wine, French wine, Italian wine, and fake wine, meaning American wine. Because American wine usually is fake. And I don't know what, I'm just that way. I'm a wine snob. I just can't help it. I'm a wine snob. But I like to harvest my own grapes here. And there's a vineyard just north of town. It's got 90 acres of different grapes, mostly Concord, but a lot of other varieties as well. I harvest my own grapes, and I like to make my own wine. I love it. I love it. Love your show. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate it. Thanks, Britt. He probably drinks big boy wine. I drink real wine. I don't know if you're talking to me or not, but I drink real wine. I got the last shipment of wine I got was mostly from France, the Bordeaux region of France, and they are strict when it comes to their winemaking in Bordeaux, France. And they add some chemicals, but it's very low amount. And they try to keep it as true as, because they have a tradition and heritage in Bordeaux, France, and Burgundy, France, and some of those wine growing regions in Spain, Italy. And so they are strict with their wines. So I'm a wine snob. I'm proud of it. We buy our grapes from St. James in Missouri. Yeah, I've been to St. James. We used to go there all the time to go trout fishing at the Merrimack Springs Park. And I love that place. I need to go back. I love that. I wanted to go back. My goal was this year to take my kids fishing at Rockbridge, Missouri. Rockbridge, Missouri has a trout farm there, and they grow them in a natural spring, and they own the spring, and they own the creek from that spring on the good portion of the land. They own all that, and they charge you. See, in Missouri, you have to get a trout tag, and you have to only get a limit of 4 trout per day. And on private land, all that goes out the window, so you can get as much trout as you want, but you have to pay by the pound. The good news is it's like half price of buying trout, farm-raised trout in the store. So you're paying half price, and these are trout that are grown in the spring. I think they're bred inside of their warehouse, but they're released into the spring where they grow, and I mean it's just all natural. It's amazing. And it's half price of what you would buy trout. And the trout are giant. They're like the smallest trout you get is like 2 pounds. I mean, they're awesome. So I wanted to take the boys there to the spring. I did not get to go. That was on my list to do this spring, was take the kids fishing. So we'll see when they open that up. I really wanted to do that. But St. James, Missouri has a pretty good trout place. If you don't mind having to deal with the trout tag and only getting 4 trout. I think it's 4 or 5 trout a day. I think it used to be 5 trout a day, but I think they lowered it down to 4. Someone from St. James, if you're on here, you can let me know. Yes, here in Rockbridge. Are you in Rockbridge, BRB? You can't be on. Rockbridge has no internet. If you're in Rockbridge, BRB, you need to respond back and let me know if you're in Rockbridge. Oh, I want to go back there so bad. It's so peaceful. They have like a little hotel there, and they have like bed and breakfast and other things there too, right? I walked out the door. Jamie was with us. The last time we were there, Jamie, this was before the cancer or any of that. It was about a little over a year ago. And it was in the fall of 2018, I believe. And we walked out the door, and there was a bald eagle sitting over the spring, just waiting to see. Oh, BRB says yes, you're in Rockbridge. Oh, that's awesome. Walked out the door of our little hotel room, and there was a bald eagle sitting on a branch right above the spring, just looking at the fish, waiting for the right moment. It was so cool. How big is the trout? I mean, they've pulled out some like lunkers out of there, like 10 pounds, 20-pound trout out of there on some of those places. I mean, they have some big trout in there, and it's all paid by the pound. So I mean, it's awesome. So yeah, he's in Rockbridge, that Missouri. I love that place. There's like no cell service there, so you must be connected to a landline or something, or DSL or something, because it's Sister Barb, Zach. Okay, I don't know Barb. I mean, I know a lot of Barbs. Just outside Rockbridge. It's not ringing a bell. I'm sorry. I'm like horrible with names. I may have known you 10 years in it, and I still may not know your name. Yeah. Who in the heck would pay for the fish they caught? What do you mean? It's a private landowner. So you just go in there and you just fish. You can get as many trout as you want, but you got to pay by the pound. And not only do you pay by the pound, so they pay by the pound, but then they will fillet them for you. They have a special machine in the back. It's amazing, where they put the fillet in, and it takes all the bones out. So it's boneless fillet, and the fillets are thick. Love some smoke. Yeah, they make smoked trout through there too. Chris Peters. Chris, it's half price. You go to the store, you're going to pay double what you're going to pay for it there. And those are farm-raised trout. They're raised on farm food, pellets, and these are trout that they're in the spring, and they're eating things that fish normally eat, like bugs and stuff, and other fish. I don't know if the trout eat fish. I think they eat insects. Aquaponics got trout, and they can't stop you from fishing. Yeah, it's hard to grow trout in aquaponics. Do the research. I would have done that. Trust me. Yeah, I used to always call Gina Jenna. Known her for years. Jenna. Hey, Jenna. I still call Philip Phil. Yeah, smoked trout is awesome. Yeah, I love fishing there. I'll go back there and I'll pay for their trout any day of the week because it's cheaper than at the store, and they're giant. What are some of the mistakes you made from transitioning to the city to the countryside? So we were talking about this the other day, and some of the mistakes I made. So I don't know. I mean, I had delusions of grandeur, I think, on a lot of things. Number one was solar power. I thought if I had all I need is a battery and a solar panel, and I can power a house. You know, that's what I thought, and that was totally wrong. Stop. Jenna. She doesn't like walking sticks either. Walking sticks. Bring her a walking stick. She loves walking sticks. Anyway, solar power, I was totally wrong on that, and it takes a lot more solar power to run. Like all of this, all the lighting you see right now, I mean, we're good because we've expanded our solar system a lot more in the last month. We added 2 new panels and 4 more batteries to our solar setup for this house. And what else? What was it? I know. It was solar dehydration. So our solar dehydrator. So we built a solar dehydrator, and Tim recently disassembled it and took it apart. And at first I was kind of like, oh, but I was like, we don't use it. And to be honest with you, we did use it for a while. And we used it for onions and some things, basil, peppers. But to be honest with you, you can do everything in a solar dehydrator that you can do inside your car. So before we had our solar dehydrator, the way we dehydrated stuff was we put everything on cookie sheets, like metal cookie sheets, like stainless steel cookie sheets, whatever, and just put them on the dash of our car and then aim the car towards the sun. And it gets like 120 degrees in there. And then you just crack your window about yay big, about half an inch. And it's a solar dehydrator. Congratulations, you now have a solar dehydrator. And it works fine. Works perfect. I did tomatoes in there. I did peppers in there. I did in my car. You do whatever you want in there. You can even do meat if you wanted to. It ain't gonna stink. It won't smell. And so it's if you were gonna do a solar dehydrator, don't spend the money, the time, the effort on building a solar dehydrator. There's lots of plans online for building a solar dehydrator. You don't need it. Just put it on a cookie sheet, put it on the dash of your car, and make sure it's pointed towards the south. Make sure the car is pointed towards the south, and you will dehydrate anything that's in there within at least 2 days. And it'd be fine. So, solar power, solar dehydrator, those were huge wastes of time. Aquaponics, our aquaponics system was a very efficient. It was efficient. It worked. It absolutely worked. However, our aquaponics system evaporated so much water. I was replacing about 250 gallons per week out of that system. And so one year we had a pretty good drought, not a severe drought, but a pretty good drought. And we went about 2 or 3 months with no rain. 2 or 3 months with no rain. And we were just sucking water with pumps out of our well and taking that over to the aquaponics and dumping it in with the pump. And it just was not happening. And just fell behind. We couldn't do it. It was emptying all of our well systems. All of our groundwater was just going. So we couldn't keep up with it. And so I think when I redo the greenhouse, I'm going to keep about a quarter of our system and then try to get it up. It will require less power, a lot less power to do one half of the system or one quarter. I may get rid of all of it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But if I had to do over again, I don't know if I would have done the aquaponics or not. I'm not sure. It did work. If you have access to an unlimited amount of water, if you have access to good water, it'll work. Aquaponics works. It works and it works efficiently. We grew peppers, we grew corn, we grew tomatoes, we grew cucumbers, everything you can imagine growing in our aquaponics, we can grow it. And our fish were growing pretty well up to a point until the system died. We had to use bluegill, hybrid bluegill. A hybrid bluegill is just a sunfish and a bluegill mixed. Okay, it happens naturally in nature. It's like a mule. Okay, but you use hybrid bluegill, and you get a bigger bluegill. But it takes 2 years It takes 2 years to get it to harvest size, right? So, yeah. So solar power, solar dehydrator, aquaponics. Maybe I should do a video on that. I don't know. Things that we messed up on, things we regret, things that were made mistakes on. I don't know. That's something I should do a video on. The next video I'm going to be doing, guys, is going to be a video on. Someone asked me the other day, what books do you deem essential on your homestead? Like information books. And there's definitely a few. So I went around, I gathered all the books that I deem essential for things that I absolutely want to have on the homestead. And I put them on the kitchen table. So I'm going to bring them in here probably tomorrow and maybe do a video on it then if I don't get interrupted for something else. Because there's always things going on. Tilapia, Tristan? Tilapia? Yeah, tilapia work if you're like Paul Neeson and you live in South Florida. If you don't, if you live anywhere where it gets 50 degrees or colder, doesn't work. Done. It's not going to work. No. It's not going to work. They're going to die on you. And then you're going to be a mass fish murderer is what you're going to be. Whitefish right now. I haven't tried whitefish. But yeah, it's not going to work for tilapia. Not here. But if you're down south, maybe like down like deep South Homestead, like down in South Mississippi, it might. But even they get a little cold. I mean, do they get colder than 50 degrees? I think they do. South Florida doesn't. I mean, South Florida, I don't think it gets colder than 70 down South Florida. That colder than 60 down South Florida. What side of Arkansas are you in? We are in northwest Arkansas. I am south of Huntsville, Arkansas. Just about 30 minutes south. Basically, you drive to nowhere, and then you drive another 30 minutes south, and then you're in the middle of it. Zach, do you still use a Berkey? Absolutely, we love our Berkey. I use Alexa Pure, and I'm thinking about changing over. I don't know what Alexa Pure is, but I've had issues with my Berkey. The seals on them, you have to replace the seals on your Berkey, and so I ordered a bunch of different new seals because there's like these rubber seals that go into your Berkey filters, and if you do not replace those, if you just use them, they weaken, and your filters aren't filtering the water, is just going right around your filters and going down in, and so you got to replace those. And so I'm always worried about that, and so I test our water every so often. I have Joshua run a water test. It's a science thing. So part of his science class. Hey, Joshua, do a water test on our Berkey. Make sure there's no bacteria in it. Stick with bluegill and perch. Yep, bluegill and perch. Like I said, the hybrid bluegill get really big. Anyway, let's see. Where are we at? How long have we been on here? Oh, we've been on here for an hour. I better go. It's 10 o'clock. All right, guys, listen, I really appreciate you guys being here tonight, and I tell you, we'll do some questions. You guys got any questions? Is there any questions before I sign off on here? Zach, this is awesome. Maybe we can go live on New Torah also just tonight. Yes, I want to do that, so I'll do that soon, because there's some things I want to talk about on New Torah. We'll do that. We'll do that soon. I'm from South Florida. Maybe we can do that on Shabbat. No, see, Saturday night, everyone, Dustin is on there, and everyone else is on there on Saturday night. So we used to do it Saturday night, but like everyone kind of, there's not just Dustin and Cassie, but everyone else too. There's like a lot of people on homesteading. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure something out. Alliance with the vaccine. Any new egg recipes? Not really. I just make my eggs over easy. Garden. You see, there you go. That's a good new tutorial topic. I don't have a garden this year. What? I don't have a garden this year. Leviticus 25, verse 5 and 6. Actually, Leviticus 25, verse 1 through 6. So look it up. Leviticus 25, verse 1 through 6. So glad you caught you live. Cool. I'm glad you guys are here. Awesome. Don't be stepping on toes, Zach. Friday night for New Torah? It might be a possibility. See, I don't know. We can maybe do that. We usually have dinner on Friday nights. But we can probably get about... You've been saying about New Torah for a while. We need new videos. Yes, I know. I need to do a video on this whole Paul thing. Oh, I have a whole video I want to do on conscience. Paul mentions conscience 27 times. Okay, no garden? Yeah, rest, exactly. What? Do you and Rob Skibo still chat it up? Not lately. I don't really want to get into that. I love me some Rob Skiba, okay? I do. I love Rob Skiba. I'm just not on his, let's say I'm not on his level. I'm not on his level. My level's kind of curved. Oh, it's a curved level. Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's start the music. Woohoo, right? Okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Love you all. Take care. From Northwest Arkansas, up on the mountain, in American Homestead. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time. Love you all. Take care. Bye.